And welcome to the latest edition of the 941 Sports Zone. We're all the way up to episode 16.
1-6.
I'm Spitz. He's John Bowl Season Masoni.
I wanted to put something else on there, Rich. I wanted to go, I will play in a bowl game if you let me, but it didn't fit. So I went bowl season.
Very interesting. Could be the last bowl season as we know it.
Yeah.
I really believe with some of the opt-outs and everything that's going on, and we'll get into that into this podcast and we get into the college football section. We have, of course, high school state semis last week. Not the results we were looking for in most cases, although Cardinal Mooney will definitely argue with us. We'll go college football. What a surprise. Notre Dame excluded. We'll talk about that. The Bucks, just an awful loss at home yesterday to the Saints, really puts the division in serious jeopardy. We'll talk a little bit about that and some of the other results. The Kansas City Chiefs are in trouble. We'll look at our locks of the week. We both did well last week. I had Texas Tech. You had Georgia. Certainly, both of them teams came through with flying colors, and both will not be playing until around New Year's. We'll talk all about the bracket and everything. And, of course, we have the last segment, which is, of course, What's Bugging Me. And the 941 Sports Zone brought to you, as always, by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida, locally owned and nationally backed, delivering exceptional roofing for homes and businesses throughout the Gulf Coast. 941-251-4257 is the number, 941-251-4257. All right, high school state semifinals. You guys were up in Lakeland. You guys meaning Venice.
No, we were in Lake Mary. Lake Mary.
Well, Lake. Oh, did I? What did I say?
Lakeland.
Oh my God, Lake Mary. I'm looking right at it too. Rematch of last year's state final, which Venice won easily. Not the same story this time around. Lake Mary. I'll say it because I watched the game on their YouTube channel. Maybe a little bit of
Nickelodeon version,
but it happened. It happens. 31-26. Venice loses to Lake Mary to finish at 9-4. John, you were there. You were actually on the sidelines, which is a rarity for you. So you got some firsthand look at a couple of very controversial calls.
Yeah, I will say this. A few more days removed from the loss. Obviously, you feel like you're close. You're right there. You should, a team that you beat last year, but beating somebody a second time and giving them a year to prepare is a lot different. Right. A lot of times with Venice, the first time you play Venice, it's a little overwhelming, and you don't really you can't simulate the speed of the offense, the play calling speed, a lot of the physicality that goes along with it. It's kind of hard to simulate in practice. We've been told that by a lot of different teams after the fact. So Lake Mary did a great job of ball control. I will say that more than a lot of the other nuances in the game that happened, the real winning formula was the ball control that they had. And the ball control was not come out and run the football. It was run and pass, and using the passing game as an extension of the running game, putting some pretty hard running backs out on the edges, Ashari Charles being the defensive end he is for Venice. He's a game changer, and you took him out of the game by play calling, throwing long, like it would be like a toss play, but you had to throw it 10 yards to the guy to get there. Did a real nice job of spreading us out and making and breaking tackles. And I still keep on saying I'm going to do it, but I really haven't done it at this point. But I would say 2-1. I would bet you it was 32 to 16 minutes time of possession that Lake Mary had. They would score on a 6-minute drive. We would score on a 90-second drive, and yes. It gets hard to keep up when they keep on putting the pressure like that on the defense. But another successful season. That's 9 out of 10 regional championships in the last 10 years. That's 5 visits to the state finals with 2 championships and a third one in 2017. make that three championships, I should say. And then you just can't be disappointed when you get to the summit, which I told you everybody last week, telling Coach Ingman, Coach Woods, Coach Clark, semifinals is a big deal. You broke and Cardinal Mooney's been there and Booker's been there, but to get to that point where you break that glass ceiling, you've been there. Now your thirst for it's going to come more. You're going to know how to get there. You're going to have to look. Coach Ingman goes for two a week ago, right? And it works. And Coach Peacock tries a couple of onside kicks and it doesn't. If that works, it's a different game.
Right.
You've got to be willing to take a chance. As good as you are, sometimes you're going to face an opponent on the road, but you've got to do some things to flip the narrative and change some things around. And if you don't have possession to do it, you're not going to go. And I think that's a lot to do with it.
I didn't watch the whole state finals last year, but I would say another big difference in the game, their quarterback played extremely well. I thought he was under control. I thought he distributed the ball well, and he was a reason. I mean, that last drive, Venice had to make a stop. There was 4 minutes on the clock, and they methodically went down the field. He had a couple of passes. The last pass was on I think it was a fourth down, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, there was two fourth down conversions. Yep. One he did, one with his feet. He made a run, and then the other one was a 4th and 10 wheel route to the receiver. He put it right on. It had to be a perfect throw because with the linebacker had dropped perfectly back. He did everything he needed to do. He's no doubt. I mean, he's been a Notre Dame commit for 2 years. He grew a little bit too. He looked a little taller than he did last year. Maybe I'm just, old age. Maybe I'm not seeing it right.
Well, you were on the sidelines. You had a different perspective. I mean,
much different perspective. Yes. Yep. And so great job by him. A difference maker for sure. But other than those things, those little plays, because it wasn't a statistical situation. I think the stats were within yards of each other. Venice being more on the side of the running side of it, and then Lake Mary being on the other side of it with more passing yardage. But again, not big chunks here and there, but mostly short ball controlled passing game. Very accurate with those passes and very hard to stop in that game.
All right, go down to 4A. Port Charlotte went up to Orlando. They were only about a half hour from you. Taking on a Jones team a tremendous team. They were the 1 seed. Port Charlotte was the 4 seed. And yet after 3 quarters, after an interception return for a touchdown, Port Charlotte actually had the lead going into the 4th quarter. Jones scored. I saw an interview with Coach Ingman talking with the pastor there who does a lot of sports for them for Port Charlotte. Very good interview, very raw. It was like right after the game.
Right.
Interesting. They were driving the ball again, and unfortunately a turnover, and that the final margin wasn't nearly what the game was. Back and forth, close. And like you said, I think Coach Ingman said it in the interview, just makes you thirstier. They didn't go there just to be close. They went there to win, and unfortunately we're disappointed. Jones winning 35-23, John.
Yes, and I'm telling you, they're ready to do it. They're ready to do something. Logan Flaherty comes back as a senior next year. The pieces are there. That's a lot to do with it. You know how to do it now. You've been there. I think that this is I foresee years worth of success. And there's a state championship in their future if they keep on this path. There's no doubt about it. But again, tip of the cap to them. They did a great job. Orlando Jones, heck, I'm sure it's kind of funny, ironically funny, but Orlando Jones a few years ago was the team that said, how do we do this? They were the ones trying to figure it out. And they did. And so that's when, and they did. It would benefit Port Charlotte greatly to have more home games. That's a little bit of a Venice thing. You hear like, oh, it's sometimes it is a 6-point, 7-point turn for the home team with the home cooking, especially in the state finals, say semifinals. So that would be a goal for sure. Win your district, win your region, keep those points coming in, and it'll help you out quite a bit.
Saw an interesting video after the game, John. Logan Flaherty, after everybody had cleared out, actually walked the field with his helmet, picking up all the debris, just kind of soaking it in, just being, I saw a comment from his parents. You're right. He's coming back. I didn't realize. I thought he was a senior. He's only a junior. Boy, yeah. They are really set up, and he's quite the kid. Had a tremendous year. It was his fumble, unfortunately, that led to Jones's final touchdown. I'm sure he's going to have to live with that for quite some time, but I'm sure that'll also fuel him in the offseason.
Absolutely. And for you to say what he was doing, that kind of a thing, a competitor, which most great athletes are competitors. If you're not competitive, you don't care if you throw a pass and it's complete or not, that kind of a thing. They do things like that. You catch them in their own self-motivational kind of scenario. Yep. He's looking around. He's adding coals to the fire. Yep. And that's what you do. I've seen it up close myself with some really great athletes that come through Venice High School. And they have that same competitive edge, that same thirst to get better. You can sort of nurture it if you're a coach or a parent, but some of it is inherent to the person, yep. to the athlete. And so there's something about that'll sustain him, that level of intensity, that level of commitment through whatever he does in his athletic endeavors, wherever if he commits and stays with UCF, yep. As his commit. They're going to get a kid who's going to be a competitor. There's no doubt about it.
3A, Booker ripped through the region. No issues at all. Scored over 200 points. Got another shot at Rains, and were only able to put up 8. 28-8. Rains actually won it easier than they did a year ago. Bitter disappointment for Booker. They finish at 12-2. Another tremendous season. They have hit the state semifinals, but they can't break that ceiling. That's 3 times they've got to the state semifinals in the last 4 years, and 3 times they're heading back to Sarasota.
And so that, again, great year for Booker. You're a regional champion. Hang another banner for that. But some of the times you say to yourself, man, they won 70-0. They beat somebody the week before by 68-0, yep. That kind of a thing. But the region is just that. It's the region, okay? And so you really have the new classification situation came out today. That's dictated to you, okay? That's who you're going to play in the region. That's why I say semifinals are different. You're playing teams that are the best of their region. Correct. Not just or the best of a region that could have 7 teams that might be better than the teams you play. They're battle tested. Lake Mary played DeLand, played Seminole, played all these different schools up there, right?
Played 2 road games.
Absolutely. And so they just kept and with Grubbs being there for as many years, and now he's a senior, obviously. He's faced it. He's been in those pressure situations. When he tucks the ball and runs, he knows he's got it. And when they call that wheel route, he knows he's where to throw it. Okay, just got to make it. Just got to make the play. Okay, it's because once you know where you're going to go, what you're going to do, and your confidence is there, it's another level. Yep. When you see great games at the state championship or great games at the semifinals, it's because usually 2 teams have been there before. Okay, they know the ropes, so to speak. And sometimes when there's great games where teams are talented enough to win, but didn't know how to do it at that point in time. Right. So you look at that perspective, and I think Booker's a little bit trapped in the fact that they have a region that they can dominate at this point. And then when they get to the semifinals against a very good Jacksonville Rains football team, it turns out the way it turns out. So that's where you got to commit to the idea of maybe playing a tougher regular season schedule.
Yes.
You know, sometimes some people love to say, "Oh, I'm 10-0, I'm 11-0." You know what matters? The ring.
Right. American Heritage, John. American Heritage is going into the. They have 6 losses. 6 losses.
Yeah, they play everybody. Nobody wants to play them, so they got to play teams.
They finished the regular season 4-6, and they're in the state finals.
Right.
I mean, there's something to be said. Venice, same thing. Listen, it's. I think teams are learning. Manatee got all the way to the regional final too, and they were 4-6 in the regular season. Played an impossible schedule. Maybe they need to actually back off a little bit.
Right. So they can go too far.
Right. Yeah. But nonetheless, you got to find that. You got to find that happy ground. And I would expect Booker, especially now that all the contracts have to be renewed, I expect them to maybe step it up a little bit. You don't have to go very far to step up. Let's take a look at 2A, Cardinal Mooney. All right. They're the one team that got to play at home. They had a rematch with Cocoa, the team that ended their year last year. And boy, did they put it on them. John, I saw this score. And I had to do 2 or 3 times. I looked at a couple different sources just to make sure it was right.
Yeah.
40 to absolutely watching. 40 to nothing. I tell you what, they look like they're ready to hoist the championship next week.
They've been there. They know what they're doing. Cocoa last year was a phenomenal football team. Their quarterback, as a junior, decided to go to Texas A&M early. Left early, a year early, or he would have been there for Cocoa this year. But they had players. They had a receiver that went to UCF, but he was trying to break Javon Hiley's single-season record for receptions in the state of Florida, in the nation at some point in time. So they had a team, and boy, Mooney, they were ready to go in that game for sure. Now they get to go against the Bowles Academy, which is a very. I would say
factory, John. Say it. It's a factory.
It's all about sports. It's all about sports at Bowles. There's no doubt about it. But they have. There was a time there that they were winning every state championship around, similar to what St. Thomas Aquinas has done in the last few years. And they've sort of mellowed out a little bit, I guess you would say, if you want to call it that. But they are back on it again. Really looking forward to that game. There's a few of them that are marquee matchups coming up this weekend down in Miami that I'll use my NFHS network subscription to watch a few of those ball games for sure.
Yeah. This one is this Wednesday night, actually.
Yes.
Wednesday night at 7:30. It's the first of the finals. And I'll tell you what, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. We talked to Coach. He came to our preseason, the preseason thing that we did over at
the media day.
Media day. Thank you. All of a sudden, I couldn't think. Anyway, he came to the media day. He had a quiet confidence about them, and they stepped it up. They played Aquinas in the kickoff classic. They played a team out of Colorado that is a perennial power and played them within 3 points. Those games got them battle tested and ready for last week against Cocoa, and they'll be ready for bowls.
Right, and again, you have to look at it that you can't be afraid to take a risk and take a loss because again, I don't care who the coach. It could be Coach Clark or Coach Peacock, Coach Christiani, anybody else. They're going to say, "Oh, no loss is a good loss." You're supposed to say that, right?
Right.
But I can tell you, if you really thought about it, there's some good losses, and you can figure out where your team's standing. What you can self-scout yourself and see your own weaknesses in certain games, and you learn from those kind of situations. Now, can you do that in a win? Also, of course you can. But sometimes you got to be able to do some things, take some risk. Don't get caught up in this undefeated thing. This doesn't. There's a lot of undefeated teams that lose in the second round. And it's just not something you have to be overly concerned with. There's the mythical national championship on Max Preps, and they're all undefeated. Come on,
you don't get a trophy for that, though.
Yeah, there's about 40 teams that in the whole country have a chance to win that. They all start out. They preordain 25 teams, and you got to do a lot to get out of that top 25. just know that what matters is the state champ. Don't win a championship. Let them rank you wherever they rank you and be happy with it. That's what it is.
Exactly. All right, so that's our look at high school. Good luck to the Cardinal Mooney Cougars as they head to Pitt Bull Stadium to take on Jacksonville Bulls again Wednesday night, 7:30. Should be a dandy. While I tell you who brings us the 941 Sports Zone, John, I'm gonna ask you to turn your TV down a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to do it before.
A little bit of feedback there. So anyway, the 941 Sports Zone brought to you by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. Give them a call, 941-251-4257. You guys' weather is now in tremendous mode. You're in December, January. I remember living down there. You just relish days in the high 70s and low 80s. And, I won't tell you that as we record this just after 5 o'clock on Monday, that it's 20 going down to 9 tonight here in Saugus, Massachusetts.
And the sun's been set for an hour, right?
Yeah, that is correct. It's set at 4:10 and it's 5:08 as we record. Yeah, it's been down. It's pitch black outside. Yeah.
By the way, I was trying to, when I was talking before, to try to turn the TV off, and I couldn't do it. I forgot to turn it off. I was reaching. I wouldn't go. I'm like, I needed to go right-handed on it. So sorry about that.
No problem. All right, let's move to college football. You and I, that's a passion of ours. Yeah. I'm the only person in the Northeast that apparently has that passion, but nonetheless, they released the brackets. We had the championship games. Texas Tech, after spotting BYU a 90-yard drive to go up 7-0, just blew their doors off. BYU's a very good team. I am so glad that Texas Tech stayed in the getting a bye because I think they deserve it, John. Their only loss was to Arizona State on a week that their quarterback didn't play. They are a physical football team. They play tremendous defense. They're going to be like a few teams in this tournament. Their offense is going to be what determines how far they go because their defense usually brings it.
They look like a bunch of guys that are like 30 that are playing. I know it's that those damn mustaches everybody has these days, but nonetheless, they play such a physical style of football. Yep. And it's not so much because of their size that I say that. It's the manner in which they go about their business. They tackle really well. They're crisp in their runs and their blocks. You can just see that as the game went on, the momentum came. There was no way they were going to lose. There was just no way that game was. And BYU get through that first punch, and then they struggled after that.
The entire rest of the game.
Yeah, Texas Tech with a bye. I don't know how whoever's going to come, whoever they would play. I think it would be
Oregon. The winner of Oregon, James Madison. So Oregon.
So I just don't see anybody that is going to be a problem for them. Whoever would. I mean, in their first game, like I said, if it was James Madison or Oregon, I just don't see a problem for them. Now, moving forward, yes, there's a few teams that obviously stand out more so than others, but Texas Tech is a complete football team. I can only say this: I don't know. They're not game breakers, so to speak.
It's not flashy.
So
reminds me of Georgia.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know if getting behind the stick, so to speak, would help them. That might be the way to beat them. I would take the ball first if I was the team playing them, so I can try to get a lead on them. But we'll see. Looking forward to see how they perform. I think it's going to be well.
The SEC championship. You had a feeling. You took Georgia. You thought they were going to win. Did you really think they were going to blow the doors off of Alabama?
I did. Go ahead.
No, the second part of the question is, with that happening, did you think Alabama would not move at all in the final college football standings?
So this is going to be something that I bring up later, hint, hint. Not necessarily this part of it, but another part to it. I thought Georgia would handle Alabama easily, only because I thought that I'm not convinced that this is your Nick Saban's Alabama anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's players still there. I think that Ty Simpson is a decent quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. Sometimes you are what you are, even from game one. Florida State beat Alabama easily.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama kind of got shook it off a little bit. The defining win for them was obviously the Georgia win in Athens, which was a big deal. But I will tell you that every other time I watched them play, I was equally unimpressed, or have been equally unimpressed by them. I just don't see that same Alabama. And I keep on using the same in this analogy. They look raggedy, okay? Mm-hmm. When I watch them play, their jerseys don't fit right. It just doesn't look right to me. And I know it sounds weird. It's a perspective I have on it. They don't look the same. It looks like there's certain details that don't quite fit. Okay, now I'm going to give you another kind of crazy thing. I'm sure maybe you watched Game Day from the SEC championship from down in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And on the dais, they had Kirby Smart,
right,
Nick Saban, and Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer showed up in a suit that did not fit him. He had no tie. He didn't look the part. Okay, he looked like, I don't know, like he was unwilling. What's that?
Running late?
Yeah, or raggedy, or something didn't look right. Saban looked buttoned up. Kirby looked buttoned up. There's something to that, Rich. I know it sounds weird. There's something to that. Mm-hmm. That he doesn't look. He looked like he was. He had no answers in the Georgia game. From down one, he had no answers, no reply, nothing. And you could see the Alabama at the end was playing just sort of like, hey, we got a touchdown. What do you know? Not trying to find ways to get Ryan Williams involved in the game. No running game at all.
Yeah.
Zero running game. Okay. That's not Alabama.
No.
And there's they're the number one seed in the SEC. Yes, they have talent, lots of talent. Okay. But the way that they played, Georgia didn't have as much talent as Alabama. I'm gonna tell you that, especially on offense. Georgia doesn't have a guy that just pops off the page at receiver or anywhere for that. They got good tight ends. I know that they can block. But they don't. But they are prepared. Mm-hmm. That was a preparation win. That was we figured it out. There's no way they were going to lose a second time to Alabama. That's right. How I felt. Now, the argument about Alabama, 3 losses, everything else you mentioned about should they have dropped in the polls, or dropped out of the polls?
No, just even dropped in the polls, even dropped 1.
Well,
the fact that you lose by 3, that's and we'll get into that. We'll get into the polls because this committee, I don't know. There's some things I don't understand.
Money. You understand money, right?
Well, I understand money. Yes, I got you.
Because Notre Dame doesn't share their money.
Right.
Notre Dame keeps their money. And I guarantee you that and I haven't heard the details, but 3 hours worth of ACC whining in the committee room overnight. People, the AD from Notre Dame basically said it. We now have a strained relationship with the ACC.
Yes. Yeah, I saw an interview earlier today. You're right.
And so that's part of the deal, that money played a part in it. Notre Dame don't need any, and ACC wants some money, and there's some things, there's something to it. I don't doubt that. But getting back to, should Alabama have dropped in the poll? My response is yes, but I don't think that the bowl should have been. I mean, not the bowls. I don't think that the championship games should have been an indicator. My personal feelings are that the poll for the championship should be before the championship games.
Yeah.
If you don't want Alabama to take a dive because they had to play an extra game, then do the poll last week, and then everybody is good to go and there's no worries, and you would have had what you would have had.
Right.
And I think that was part of the problem. And by the way, I think the biggest thing too is this making a TV show out of rankings every week, so people can say, "Look where we are." It's unfortunately, we thought that going to 4 teams was going to make a difference. It wasn't going to be a beauty contest. Wrong. Now we're at 12 teams. It's still a damn beauty contest, no matter what anybody says.
Yeah, I agree. And then the 2 games that were the late games on Saturday, the Big Ten championship lived up to the hype.
Great.
Give it up for Indiana. Let me tell you, they play that defense right now. That's, to me, the difference in the game. That, and I thought a couple of very questionable decisions by Ryan Day. But, as long as he gets them out of the way like he did against Michigan last year and, gets focused and ready for the run to the championship, I think they'll be just fine. I think the game was more important for Indiana. I thought Mendoza played extremely well, especially in the second half. I thought he was money in the second half. And give it up to the Hoosiers. I mean, they haven't done anything since I was 1 year old back in the late 60s. Yeah. First Big Ten championship since 67. I love the people that are like, well, I'm concerned about them in the playoff because they celebrated so much on the field. Really? Come on. First of all, they're not going to play until New Year's Day. Okay. They're going to be in the Rose Bowl.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where their game is going to be. All right. Those kids deserve to celebrate. What they've done over the last 2 years is nothing short of incredible.
They know that was, so again, goes back to the same thing. Enjoy the moment, right? Enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So it's just like I said, you win a regional championship in high school, celebrate. You did something great. Lake Mary beats Venice. We watched them celebrate. They deserve to celebrate. Yep. They're going to play. They're going to play on Saturday night and go for a championship. You should celebrate. It's not a problem. Sidebar about the Big Ten and the championship game. Indiana turned my opinion around in the Oregon game this year.
Yep.
When they physically beat the hell out of them with a Dan Lanning team that, you expect them to be tough because he coming from that Georgia background and everything else. They made them look, they whipped them. They did a great job. But there's something about the Big Ten that Indiana could have this quick of a rise from the ashes, so to speak. The Big Ten wants so badly to have the whole country think how great they are. You know what I'm saying? Like SEC says, we're the best. And Big Ten's like, no, we are. We've won 2 of the last national championships and this and that. But what everybody fails to realize is, yes, you can have a great team or 2 at the top of the conference. Okay. It's the whole conference that you're talking about, not the top 2. Okay. Now it's, well, Oregon's good. Sure they are. Okay. Sure they are. But they're in addition to what was there before. There's an addition. Okay. And so they're already good. They came in good. They're already good. And so I'll give you that. But the fact that Cignetti can come in and take an Indiana team with a lot of portal transfers, we understand all that and everything else, coach and be at the top of the pinnacle of the conference in 2 years, boy, that says something about the conference. Maybe maybe the teams that are going from 4 through 16 or whatever it is, maybe they're not the conference everybody wants to think they are. No. And my other point to this is that I still can't understand till now. I can't understand one bit why it took Penn State 95 days to get Matt Campbell from Iowa State, who nobody wanted anymore. He was up for jobs for years and never took one, never got the offer. I don't know. And that's remember, Penn State was supposed to be the number 1 team in the country this year. Right. It was supposed to be Penn State, and they've dropped. Nebraska is stuck at 7-5. And now their quarterback's supposed to leave, and this is no good here. There's some things that are really, really interesting. My real big thing is, and it's probably something we're talking about as well, is that I think I'm going to look forward to seeing something in another team in the next 2 years in the Big Ten to see how good they do. and it's Michigan State. Because Pat Fitzgerald, and I know there's a lot to talk about controversially about him, about hazing and certain things like that, but he's been cleared. He arbitrated his way out of the situation, and he's going to Michigan State, which is an absolutely perfect fit for that guy.
Yeah.
He's got a fan base that likes to be, they're the little brother. I know Michigan State guy hates to hear that, but what are they Michigan. And look out. I'm telling you, Pat Fitzgerald is gonna. He was at Northwestern for life. He wasn't going anywhere, and he was competitive, trying to win Big Ten championships at Northwestern.
Right.
Go to Michigan State to see what happens. So if Fitzgerald does what I think he can do, you'll know where the Big Ten is. You'll understand.
Right. Well, I think you're right there, but I also think Michigan the next couple of years. They were very young this year. There's a chance that they could have 5 or 6 really, really good teams, but I don't think anybody's ever going to be as deep as the SEC. But that's neither here nor there. You still get into the tournament. You still got to win the tournament. You still got to win.
Absolutely.
Win the requisite amount of games, depending on where you land in the bracket. I thought Ohio State would drop to 3 behind Georgia. I don't have a problem with them being at 2. Their only loss is to the number 1 team in the country.
Right.
That's
the way it should be. Right.
Right. And so I thought, and Georgia's sitting on the 3 line. And quite frankly, looking at the bracket, I think the 3 line's easier than the 2 line. I really do. And we'll get into that
that's exactly the truth. You're absolutely right. So that's the luck of the draw, one way or the other. No, if you're if you're in the top 4, there's no way you should have any trouble, any worry about anybody come next.
Well,
if you're that good, if you're top 4 in the country, whoever's coming up next to play you should be fine with it. Yeah. You should be okay with it. There shouldn't be like, oh, I don't want to play so and so. No, you want to play anybody who comes your way. Right. You're that good.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Oregon was the 1 seed last year. They drew Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, and Ohio State boat raced them. Sometimes it's just all about matchups. And rematches. That was a rematch from a game in the regular season last year. So we'll have to wait and see. And, all those games that we just talked about were in packed stadiums.
Yes.
And then there was the game in Charlotte.
Right.
Between Virginia and Duke. And quite frankly, I didn't see anything. The way it ended, it actually worked out very well. The Big Ten went over to the ACC game, and it was late in the fourth quarter. Duke had a lead, made a couple of very stupid penalties on the final drive. Virginia took advantage, got the tying touchdown with 22 seconds left. Duke scored in overtime, and Virginia inexplicably had a penalty on the extra point that pushed them they roughed the passer. My apologies. Yeah. They roughed the passer on the touchdown, which started them back to the 40, and they threw an interception on the first pass. Duke wins. And John, I got to be honest with you. I mean, obviously Duke's ACC champs. They're heading to El Paso. Congratulations. They're playing in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl against Arizona State, whose quarterback, by the way, no-showed their banquet, so he's done.
Yep.
And this is what you're going to see throughout all the bowl. Mm-hmm. This is why I think, John, the Bulls are really, really, really in trouble. Because Kansas State and Iowa State. Let me get off on that tangent later. Go back to the ACC thing. Duke wins. They're not going to get in the tournament. I think that's why, in the ultimate end, the committee took Miami, because they did not want to have another tournament without the best team in the ACC. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's the answer they don't want to give, because they don't want to say they did that.
Right.
Okay? But they did do that, and I think that's what the Notre Dame AD was complaining about. Be transparent. Tell me what you did, so I can at least explain to the team why they got hosed. Okay, or what the logic behind it was. And for the ACC to lobby against Notre Dame while they're in the ACC and every other sport except football, I'd be pissed too. I'd be. That's almost like how it takes something like this to make you mad enough to do something you didn't want to do all along. I could see Notre Dame turn around today and be on the phone with the Big Ten commissioner saying, "Hey, listen, I don't want to play in the ACC no more. they threw us under the bus. Can you fit us into your situation up there with the Big Ten? And that's where they should be from the get-go. That's where they should be from the get-go. Go play in the Big Ten and commit every bit of it. Keep your contract with NBC. Who cares?
Yeah, but are they? Notre Dame's going to want the same deal. They want to be a non-member just playing Big Ten schools. I think Tony Petitti's got to say, listen, you're either in or you're out.
Well, that's the thing. Notre Dame's reached the point now where in this particular case, having your toe in the water got you what you got. Mm-hmm. If you were fully an ACC team, you'd be in the championship right now. Mm-hmm. This independent stuff, because here's what I went back and looked at their schedule. Okay, lost to Miami, lost to Texas A&M. But there's too many Navies and Syracuses, and there's not a game you looked at and said, I thought Pitt could beat them, but Pitt was playing, but Pitt just rolled over for them for whatever reason.
Well, but they rolled over for Miami too.
Right. It was just weird.
They're an equal opportunity rollover team.
But I think that's what Notre Dame. If you have a conference affiliation is necessary. Who's independent anymore? BYU used to be independent. They joined a conference.
Correct.
Who's not joining a conference? I don't get it. And I know Washington State and Oregon State are in some orbit on their own or whatever they're doing.
Well, the Pac-12 is coming back.
Right.
Not the way it was, but it is.
Right. And so my feelings is that Notre Dame, there's a lot of things that have been said about Notre Dame, and I get I think they did get hosed somewhat, but
well, here's what hosed them.
Whose fault is it?
Here's what hosed them, and I'll have more on this later. But again, you said it at the beginning, John. The TV show. Right. It was a 6-week TV show, and for 5 of the weeks, Notre Dame was under the assumption they were in.
Right.
They were. I think when it started, they were 9 spots clear of Miami, and each week it got a little closer and a little closer and a little closer. And once BYU lost, suddenly they were next to each other. And, they talked for 5 weeks about the head-to-head not meaning anything. Then all of a sudden the head-to-head meant something. And again, this is, it just smells. It really does.
What's funny about certain things, like you watch, I don't watch ESPN as much as I used to. I watch it for the sports. I don't watch it for the gab. Okay. So, and we're gabbing right now, but they make their own headlines. Mm-hmm. You and I can't make a headline unless we do something silly if I moon you right now or something crazy, right? So, but nonetheless, they created that TV show that created this problem for Notre Dame, right? But yet right. Reese Davis is going to go and he's going to go hard at the guy who's on the selection committee and ask him why did they do this to Notre Dame and why did they all of a sudden they tumble down? What he should have said is because we're trying to do what you guys want and make a TV show for you.
Can't do that. No, John.
No, you can't, because I go back to the same thing. Money. Right. You did it all for money. That's what it is. And so ESPN, you can't be the in-depth investigative reporter on the deal, because you are the part of the deal.
Correct.
You can't go there. Now, why'd you do that for? You're there.
Right.
Your people are telling you, guess what? This is going to be a doozy tonight. We're going to put this guy here, this guy, because they're all playing around. They're not taking their job seriously the first 5 or 4 weeks. They're just going down and going, nah, here's a ranking. And then they don't realize that, hey, we stuck Notre Dame at 8. We shouldn't do that. Right. Well, you did it. Right. So now you got to, so that whole bull crap about, hey, we're going to find out what's really, you're not being transparent. You're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. You're the narrative, part of the narrative.
And it's interesting already. It's been announced, and they haven't come up with a new plan. They've got till January 23rd to come up with what's going to happen next year. Is it going to be 12 teams? Is it going to be 14 teams? Is it going to be 16 teams? But one thing they've already said is, if this happened next year, Notre Dame would be in, because if they're in the top 12, they get an automatic bid.
Right.
Okay. I just. Left, right. I make the rules as you go along. I mean, they've got to come up with something a little more concrete.
They made it make it overly complicated. Okay. Yep. It's not as hard as you want to make it out to be. And I've said all along that if you're number 13, boo hoo,
Right.
because you wouldn't have had a chance at anything 4 years ago. Okay.
Right.
It's, I get it. And I'm sorry that Notre Dame, somebody was going to get it. Miami, Notre Dame, or Alabama was going to be disappointed. Okay. But that's the risk you take. You lost 2 games. You didn't have a clean slate. You're not undefeated. You lost 2 games, and the rest of your games you played subpar opponents the entirety of the rest of your season. Granted, we can argue resumes over and over again. I told you how I didn't think Alabama was as good as they were. That they're not as good as everybody thinks they are, and that's fine. But someone's argument was going to win. Either Notre Dame was going to win or going to lose, or Miami was going to lose, or one of them was going to lose. Unfortunately for Notre Dame, it was them. We would be talking to Alabama's AD or Miami's AD if they got host too. So it's just unfortunate that they were the bottom 3 teams.
Well, here's the unfortunate part is that you made it. It was originally the Power 5. Then there were only 4 teams, and you still left the verbiage as the 5 best conference champions. So now you have 2 teams that, quite frankly, don't belong. James Madison and Tulane. Apologies to your new head coach.
Right. No.
It's that again, it's just all over the place. So you're trying to get the 12 best teams, except you're not trying to get the 12 best teams. You're trying to stay out of court because you need to, have a G5 team or G6 or whatever the hell you want to call it. And now you got 2 G6 teams.
Right.
Well, Notre Dame should be in over one of those G6 teams, but because of your verbiage, this is what happens.
They're making the wrong argument.
Right.
The argument isn't about if Notre Dame or Alabama or the 3 of them all deserve to be there. If you look at it, the 2 teams they put in don't. It was only 10 teams this year. That's what it was. It wasn't 12. You had 10 teams because they lost 2 spots.
Yep.
So, and I get it.
The ACC made their own bed.
Absolutely.
If they would have punished the ACC, you know what? Change your damn tiebreaker procedures. Where the 5th best team.
How stupid is that?
Yes. We talked about it a little bit last week.
That's bad leadership. Untied end. You didn't think anything. The next thing you know, it comes back to bite you.
Yeah.
Stupid.
The committee probably saved the ACC commissioner's job by getting Miami in.
I'm telling you that whatever begging me was being done was being done. Put us in there. Do this. And we don't care if you screw over Notre Dame. We don't care. Get us in this thing. We can't be locked out. We're a partner with everybody here. We can't be locked out. And they should have been.
Right. All right. So here's the schedule as it came out. The first game, standalone game, Friday, December 19th, 7:30, 4-letter network. Alabama at Oklahoma, 9-8. Alabama a slight favorite in the game. So here's another thing. I mean, I guess they did it right because, Texas A&M, I thought Texas A&M should have been 6 and Ole Miss should have been 7. But then if you look at it, you're like, well, Ole Miss's only losses to the number 3 team, whereas Texas A&M lost to Texas. Where did they finish? 10th, 11th, 12th, something like that. So I guess in that sense they did it right. But really, if they were really doing this, rematches to me don't do much, especially this one where Alabama's favored, and they should be favored because they dominated that game against Oklahoma and basically turned the ball over and handed the game to them.
Right. There's no doubt about it. No, I again, you're right how this all sort of plays itself out. I do like most of the matchups, though. I have to say that. I mean, I like Ole Miss and Tulane. I think I like that. There's some closeness to the teams right there.
John, the first game was 45-14.
Yes, I know.
Closest is what? Proximity?
Yeah, proximity. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So you're going to get a fan base there. I'm telling you, the first round of these games, 2 of the games are going to be, they might be layup. I mean, they might be something they want to even turn the TV on for. I don't know. At least they'll be checking it out.
Not by accident. The 2 games that are the layups are up against the NFL games because the NFL decided to play games on Saturday.
Right.
Oh, and one of them is Ravens Steelers Part 2. Okay. Right. And the other one's Eagles Commanders, and nobody knew that the Commanders were going to suck as bad as they do.
Right.
But nonetheless, the NFL put up their middle finger. So because of that, Miami and Texas A&M are going to play at 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday to avoid the NFL games. Everybody in Texas, everybody's like, why are they playing so early? Open your eyes. A&M, an early 3.5-point favorite. I think Miami's got a shot to win that game. I really do.
I don't know what Miami.
I know you're not a big Miami fan.
I'm not a Carson Beck guy, and I think as he goes, so goes Miami, because and so I just don't know what to expect. I don't. Mario Cristobal is going to try to conservatively play a game. It's like you're just not quite sure how effective they're going to be. A&M can be explosive. A&M's got a chip on their shoulder right now, I would say too.
Yes.
So that would be my look at it. Only game I'd be surprised that if somebody lost, and I know you think I'm a little crazy, but if Oregon lost to James Madison, I would be shocked.
Well, it's a 3-touchdown spread. I would be more than shocked.
If Tulane,
I would be stunned. Yeah, I would be stunned if Tulane even gave Ole Miss a game.
Well, here's the caveat, and I know there's a lot of weird things going on in Mississippi right now, right? We know that it's a tough deal. They're not coming in here that you never know. You might get the most motivated team ever, or a team that's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So there's a little bit of that. If something happened, went a little screwbally on them, it wouldn't surprise me terribly. I'd be like, oh, okay. And but I think the only game that would shock me would be Oregon losing.
Speaking of surprises, coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Some coaches were introduced actually earlier on Monday. Brian Hartline at USF. I think that's a home run hire for them. Wide receivers coach at Ohio State. A lot of people thought he was rocketing up. A lot of people thought USF got a good coach there. Matt Campbell, who's been very loyal to Iowa State, finally said, listen, I got to move on. He's going to try to take over the mess that is Penn State. But the one that just hit me in the jaw, Billy Napier's already employed again. Yep. And he's at a pretty damn good school, James Madison. Your thoughts, John, on your former coach getting a job right out of the chute?
Here's what it is. Sometimes, how can I put this the right way? Sometimes
politically correct, please.
Sometimes you are a great slow pitch softball player because it's slow pitch, and you can be the best. You could have the best swing ever for slow pitch softball, and then you go play fast pitch softball, and you can't lay a bunt down. He is a slow pitch softball guy. Okay. So go to James Madison. He's going to put together the whole. He should have took the interview that he did for Florida and just give it to James Madison. I'm going to set up all your stuff. We're going to recruit really well. I've got this plan. I'm going to call the plays, whatever it may be. And they're like, hey, we had Signetti. He did the same thing. Chesney, he did the same thing. Come on, Billy. What's the difference? Come on down. You're the next guy. You're getting a Division I, top-notch coach. Supposedly, right? Supposedly.
Yeah, right.
So get him now, and he wants to keep coaching. I mean, if I'm James Madison and I'm a fan of James Madison, he's probably got a rope about this long, but he may be the guy that he would have been a big hire for you 3 years ago. If he didn't go to Florida and you got him from James Madison, you would have said, "Wow, we got a great deal there. We did fantastically." Real quick, back to the Brian Hartline hire at USF. So as much as I'm a big Pat Fitzgerald proponent for Michigan State of being this is 1B hire. This is phenomenal. Yeah. Phenomenal. He's going to recruit like crazy. And I don't think he's going to go out and recruit the leftovers like sometimes USF and other guys. I'm not trying to be mean, but
no.
He's going to go and he's going to go out after 4-star guys and 5-star guys. And he's going to say, guess who Jeremiah Smith wanted to go play for? Me. Mm-hmm. Guess who Garrett Wilson wanted to go play for? Me. Guess who? Because
Jackson Smith and Jigma.
Right. You name them all.
Olave. Yep. Olave. Yep.
and what's his face's kid down in Arizona now. Oh gosh, I can't think of it. I'll think of it in a little bit. But nonetheless, they're all huge. It's a big gets. He's going to come in there. He's going to light it on fire. It's a great hire. Give him 4 years. He's going to be out of there. But get him through the new stadium. But he is. I think he's going to be that good. I will tell you this. Go back to my Ohio State thing and about Indiana and everything else. I thought Ryan Day. You know what? He had a good year. Wasn't off the chain. Did a great job. I didn't think a nice job, but man, he lost Chip Kelly, and now he lost Brian Hartline. You got Matt Patricia. I know that's a great hire on the defensive side, but this is where it gets harder and harder to find people for replacements. Yep. And don't be surprised if guys might follow him from Ohio State to USF to play because they're going to be 3 and done. I think it's a bigger deal than people realize that him leaving Ohio State. I think it's huge. So we'll see what happens. I mean, Alex Golesh did a great job. This might be an upgrade, and that's not a reach to say.
Right, and that's not a slap on Golesh either, because I think he's an upgrade at Auburn. I think that cycle there worked itself out very well.
Yeah,
and let's give Rob Higgins his flowers, man. I mean, he brought Super Bowls to Tampa. We've talked about this before. He's had 4 of the last 8 Frozen Fours in Tampa.
He knows what he's doing.
He could sell ice to Eskimos.
Right.
He had a target. He went right at, didn't waste any time. You mentioned you kind of exaggerated a little bit, but it was 54 days that Matt Campbell finally gets, Penn State. And I'd much rather be where Brian Hartline is right now than Matt Campbell.
100%.
I got to be honest with you.
If Penn State would have hired Brian Hartline, I wouldn't have blinked.
Yeah.
He again, no coaching experience, but if you said, "Hey, he's going over there," I would be like, "Okay, he can build a team. He's been around the block a little bit. Recruit the heck out of some people."
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's an unbelievable hire for USF. When I heard that, I was like, I turned around. What? Did I hear that right? That's the guy who got hired. That's a great get, really great get, unbelievable signing.
All right, there you have college football. We're gonna have some fun watching the games. We'll get much more in depth into the games themselves next week because they'll be coming right up. So looking forward to that. Army Navy's this week. Navy's almost a touchdown favorite in that game. This could be one of the last years, the way the playoffs been going. If they go to 16 teams, Army Navy might not be a standalone game anymore.
Right.
I mean, it's more than just the football, John. I mean, it really is. And, we've had some kids from our area play in this game. I mean, our schools, I think it's.
Here's the question for you, Rich. What happens, and this is not a reach, Navy wins the conference or Army wins the conference and they're number 23 in the country and they get put in the bowl, they're in the championship. What happens if they're in the
first round game? That's a great question.
Because nobody NCAA, we're probably the only 2 people thinking about that right now. NCAA is like, oh, whatever, ain't never gonna happen. No one, ACC is never gonna be beat by 2 other conferences. It happens a year later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you don't think it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you the truth, Army Navy could or should be. Listen, the championship games, of the conferences, they can be spread out a bit. Army Navy could be very much in the middle of the day of those championship games. Did I really need to see BYU and Texas Tech at noon? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe that could have been a Friday game. Maybe it could have been another game. Maybe Army Navy goes into that situation, or maybe they play on rivalry weekend like everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, something else would have to change, unfortunately. But we'll see.
Everything is evolving. All right. Again, the 941 Sports Zone brought to you by the good folks at Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. Locally owned, nationally backed. The best of both worlds, delivering exceptional roofing for homes and businesses up and down the Gulf Coast. 941-251-4257 is the number. 941-251-4257. the drama that is the National Football League. And there's drama in Tampa.
Yeah.
And I went to my favorite hangout and watched the first half of that game. And I know the Bucks led at halftime. I was like, I took my ball and went home. I'm like, This does not look like a motivated team. And again, this goes back to the Rams game. The Bucks not ready to play. They gave up a long kickoff. We're talking about the Saints here, for crying out loud.
Right.
I know it's a rival. Listen, the Saints do more winning in Tampa than any other road team. And they did it again. But, I mean, you're talking about Tyler Shuck at quarterback with 2 long touchdown runs. Defense doesn't come up big. Baker looks like he's
hurt
or unmotivated. And
yeah.
I'm going to say hurt. I'm with you. I think he's still hurt. Bucky Irving got dinged up again in the game. It just couldn't go any worse for the Bucks. 24-20, they fall to 7-6, and there's technically now in second place in the NFC South because Carolina's got a better conference record, and those 2 teams are going to play over the next few weeks at the end of the season. The final games at Raymond James, and thought that was going to be a formality. When I came down in October, when the Bucks were 5-1 and the 1 seed and everything was all rosy, and now they're getting the wheelbarrow out and getting ready to roll Todd Bowles right out of town.
Todd. That's what it is. I'm not a fan of Todd's. I think Todd's a great, nice guy. I just think I don't see it. I've never seen it. And you just watch how things are unraveling with him again. I've seen this picture before.
Yeah,
I've watched it.
An old movie. Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the same thing. There's the inspiration, the motivation, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes you got to be able to kick somebody in the ass and get him motivated. And I don't think it's happening. I think Todd's like, just go do your best, and we'll scheme, and we'll do this and we'll do that. It's like Baker looks tired.
Yeah.
Hurt and tired. It's like, so what's wrong? What's the, he gets Godwin back. It doesn't look, nothing looks right.
Ibuka had a key drop in the end zone. They just, this was a team effort on the negative side.
If they would have won, I'd be saying the same thing. If they would have pulled that game out, I'd be saying the same thing. So whatever happened, they had 7 good weeks, and now they're just trying to figure it all out again. It doesn't look promising to me. There's too many. Comparing to all the other good teams in the NFC right now, they're not even they're not close.
Not in the same zip code, and they're probably going to have to, if they do manage to win the division, they're probably going to have to play one of them, either Seattle or the Rams, is my guess, in the first round. Yeah, in a 4 or 5 game, and that could turn out to be ugly, especially since they beat both teams. Well, actually, no, the Rams beat them, but they beat Seattle in the regular season. I was thinking of the 49ers for some reason. That could be another one of the teams that could be that matchup. And here the Bucks had a chance, if they wanted to make a change, they could have, pivoted from Todd Bowles to Liam Cohen. Instead, they let Liam Cohen go to Jacksonville. I know it was awkward in the beginning. I know that he and Trevor Lawrence at times look like they're not on the same page, but 9-4, first place in the AFC South. And really now with Daniel Jones tearing an Achilles, man, this Achilles stuff is just, it's unbelievable. I really feel bad for him because he really had played well this year, but they're done. 36-19 Jags in first. They don't have to play Houston again. So all they have to do is keep winning, and they'll win the AFC South.
Well, you said about the Achilles. I really believe that he's walking around with a fractured fibula in his leg. There's no way you can't tell me that he's not leaning back and doing something. It's the wrong thing, the wrong situation. All those long muscle kind of situations. I don't know if Achilles actually called, but all the muscles in the back of your leg when you get hurt, it's all because you're not doing something right. The hamstring is not, you didn't warm it up enough. Now you got an Achilles. It's there's things that you're not doing.
Water on the field.
So it's Remember Rodgers blew his out with the Jets. He didn't throw he didn't play very much in the preseason. It's all the same thing. So Daniel Jones is probably not really doing much in during the week. Who knows with that whole situation? Jacksonville, I think Liam Cohen went there and he said Trevor Lawrence is not ready for prime time. I'm gonna kick him in the ass, and he did. Trevor Lawrence didn't like it because he had never been kicking his ass since his sophomore year of high school. Everybody genuflected to him, I'm sure, being the stud athlete that he was. And now they're saying, do you want to win or do you want to put some stats up and get a contract? And now he's
already got the contract.
Yeah. Now, but again, do you want to win? What are we doing here? What are we doing? So that's what happened. And I think that there's some motivation behind that.
No question about it. Speaking of Houston, they won their 5th straight game, and the last 3 back to back. Buffalo. I had this memorized. Buffalo. Who they beat last week?
Let's go to Kansas City first. But
Kansas City last night, or Sunday night, I should say. They frustrated Patrick Mahomes, held him to 160 yards passing, picked them off 3 times, 20-10 the final. I know Andy Reid took some of the blame. He went 10-10 game. That's not Andy Reid. But he obviously is reading his team and thought they needed to convert there to win the game, because even though they had tied the game at 10 after being down 10-0 at halftime, they weren't getting the big chunk plays. They weren't moving the football. And he read the room and it didn't work out. And now Kansas City falls to 6-7 and they don't win any tiebreakers. They are literally on life support.
Yeah, they're done. Mahomes looked done last night. Like all of a sudden he played and all the wizardry and running around, it just wasn't working anymore. And it's almost like he said, when Forrest Gump stopped running after a year, and he said, "I think I'm going to go home now. I'm tired." And what? I think he's tired. I think this is like we always say, like when the Lightning went back to back Stanley Cups. Man, that's a lot of hockey.
That is.
And when you go to Super Bowl every year for 5 or 6 years, man, it's a lot of football. It's a lot of football. It caught up to Brady at some point in time a little too, it caught up to everybody. But I will say this: sometimes let's say this year is a wash and they don't make the playoffs. What a reboot next year! I would be picking Kansas City to win next year, because there's no way Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are not going to get it right. One other thing about Kansas City: Travis Kelce needs to marry Taylor and go retire. He is just about ready. He's about done. He can't get open. He doesn't look like he's shrugging his shoulders all the time too. He's not the dude at this point. He really is.
Well, here's the other problem for Kansas City, John. They're in salary cap hell.
Yeah,
they're going to have to do it through the draft and hit home run after home run. So this could be a little bit of a drop off. By the way, I finally figured it out. Indianapolis was the team in the middle at Indianapolis that Houston beat last week. Yeah. So quite a 3-game run for them, for Houston. And they're just sitting there. They're making their run. That's their division. It's kind of like the Bucs, except the Bucs are going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Houston got the 3-5, and they said, "All right, we're not." They had that miracle comeback against Jacksonville. They kicked the crap out of Buffalo. I mean, they've definitely put some pelts on the wall for sure. And now they can see the finish line from where they are. And you want to play the Texans? If you're the Patriots, if you're the Broncos, do you want to play the Texans? No. I don't think so right now.
No, you don't.
Really, really don't. They're going to be a very dangerous team. Speaking of the Bills, fourth quarter rally, and it's the defense that does it. After Joe Burrow torched them for 3 touchdowns in the first 3 quarters, 2 interceptions that really both were inexplicable. 1 return for a touchdown. Christian Benford is in line to win the 2nd consecutive Defensive Player of the Week award for them. And Josh Allen does just enough. I know he's one of your favorites. But, he didn't play hero ball, to his credit. They just fought and fought. 39-34. That's a very flawed 9-4 team that comes to New England this week having to win to have a chance to win the division. New England wins, they clinch the title.
I look at Buffalo again, taking my bias away from it and from not liking Josh Allen, and their problem more so than anything is their defense.
Yeah.
Okay, is their defense. I think Joey Bosa was a bust as a pickup at this point. I don't see again. I'm looking at them play. They're kind of given they're better than the Jets and the Dolphins, so they got 4 wins under their belt right away. Josh Allen keeps them in a lot of games. Credit to him for doing that. They just don't look the part at this point. I'll be surprised if New England doesn't beat them by 10, because I think Buffalo's not going to be able to go in there and just now. Things can happen. Drake May is due for a bad game. You never know what's going to happen in those situations. Things get a little tight here and there. I think that New England has zoomed past them as the cream of the crop in that division. And so I'm not 100% sold on them. The other game that I know you're going to bring up too is Pittsburgh and Baltimore.
Yeah,
a lot of heat on Mike Tomlin. A lot of for the offense. Baltimore got hosed. Baltimore lost that game on their own as well. Pittsburgh was the beneficiary of that. Rodgers played okay. Both of those teams will probably be in and around the playoff mix, depending on how everybody else.
Well, one of them's got to win the division,
right? But both, if they can kind of chug along with each other, whatever's going to happen there. Cincinnati is the most talented team in that division. It's just that they can't get their act together, injuries and whatever else it may be. And you saw that against Buffalo. They managed to screw it up. They were driving to go put that game away.
Yes.
Away, and they screwed it up. So, but Baltimore but Pittsburgh and Baltimore, I think betting man says to me that one or both of those coaches are gone next year. Because
I wouldn't argue with that.
If Aaron Rodgers gets to the playoffs and he loses, is he going to come back to Pittsburgh? I don't know if Pittsburgh wants him back.
Yeah. Although he did play his best game as a Steeler yesterday,
right?
Or Sunday.
But it's got to be a move along moment at some point in time as well. And John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson does not look like Lamar Jackson anymore.
Well, he's hurt. He's his ankles. He won't run.
Absolutely.
He actually ran for a touchdown first time since week 1. Hello.
And so that's the thing, because that's his game. And this was going to happen. This was the catch-up moment. So what's going to happen there too?
Yep.
If I'm the fan base, I love these guys, but I don't know if I want them back next year. And again, that might mean you might get something worse. And that's a lot of people figure, hey, I'd rather be competitive and not get rid of them. But at some point in time, the wax is off the car at this point. It looks like a beat up old raggedy car at this point. Doesn't look like a showroom. I have an analogy I want to do, but I can't say it.
Shiny new car. Doesn't look like a shiny new car anymore.
Right off the lot. Yeah, no doubt.
What a game took place in Green Bay yesterday. Packers.
Great game.
Got out to a 14-3 halftime lead. Give the Bears credit, man. They fought back. That team is dangerous. I know they lost the game yesterday. And I Ben Johnson's got to do a little self-scouting. Speaking of guys, they're driving. It's the 2-minute warning, and they went 3 straight runs, and then on 4th and 1, they had a play call. Caleb, he had guys open, but he was zoned in on his guy in the end zone. It was intercepted. 28-21, the final. Packers take over first at 9-3-1. Bears at 9-4. These two teams get to play again, and we could see them a third time in the playoffs. I'll sign up for it right now.
No doubt. Game. Caleb Williams, you're seeing the improvement in him week after week after week, and he's an interesting character. I mentioned how Trevor Lawrence never got him kicked in the ass. Caleb Williams never hang around long enough for you to kick him in the ass.
Right.
So he's
Ben
showing
Johnson's definitely kicked him in the ass, John.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's what I mean. That's why he's playing better, because this is what he needed. A guy to tell him this is what you need to do, and he's getting better. If he buys into this, the Bears will be good for a while at quarterback. If he buys in, we'll see. Green Bay, I don't know. I know this sounds weird. You watch them, And there's just times that they just don't look. They look terrible sometimes.
Right.
And
well, 2 of their losses are inexplicable. Cleveland and
there's
Carolina.
inconsistencies to them. They worry me in the playoffs. I would trust Chicago more in the playoffs than I would Green Bay at this point. And I would trust anybody else in the NFC West over them as well. But they are a good team. They're talented. Dallas made them even more talented by handing over Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the gift of all gifts. You know what I mean? Like, here you go. Take this guy.
And he is playing tremendous.
Because that defense, that's what they needed. They needed that one guy. One guy.
Yep.
And they got him. And the prime
you speak of the NFC West. The Rams went to Arizona, did what they needed to do against the Cardinals, 45-17. Seattle, 6-6 at halftime. I wonder what their coach said at halftime, because it ended up 37-9.
Yeah.
And Raheem Morris has to be dead man walking. If he survives, they play the Thursday game against Tampa. If Tampa beats them and thumps them, I don't think he survives the mini bye. I know he's not going to survive after the year, but why hold on to him now? Because it looks like the team is just absolutely quitting.
They're lost. They're lost. They don't know what's going on. There's like, I don't know. Atlanta's an interesting. I don't know why they would even have hired a Raheem Morris. Nothing. Right. I mean, that make no sense. And then you put him in there, and you set him up for failure with bad contract with Kirk Cousins, Robinson, the running back.
Yeah,
best player in the NFL. Right. That's what you hear.
Well, he was everybody's number 1 pick. He underutilizes them.
They don't do anything with him. Right. I don't understand what they do. There's nothing there. I mean, if the worst team would still run him 30 times, you know what I mean? It's like I don't get it. I don't get it.
They're saving him for something. I just don't know. In Raheem's case,
they saved him. They saved Kyle Pitts. They've saved Drake London. They're saving everybody.
Well, London's been kind of banged up, but again, they put all their eggs in the Michael Penix basket off of 3 games last year. He has not been the answer. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you got to get him parts around him. He's got tremendous parts around him. I don't
know what to do with him.
Right. I don't understand. I just don't think he's where where he got drafted. I don't think
no,
as much of him as other people do. I want to go and get into this Denver game in a minute, but I'm gonna Miami. Speaking of a guy who's saving his job, he was dead man. A lot of people thought he wouldn't come back from Germany or wherever they played, and now all of a sudden, Miami 6-7. They're probably going to finish somewhere around 9-8. They got the Bucks who are struggling. 34-10. They just came out and waxed your Jets, who have been playing better at home in the cold, where Miami normally doesn't play well. They're just doing enough to screw up their draft position.
Well, and I'm going to say this to you. I was going to use another. That's 100% true, but this is Florida Gators 2024. Billy Napier's 5-game run,
right?
Brought him back. Okay, It's the same thing. You think it's going to change? You think Tua got any better? I don't know. Does Waddle want to stay there anymore? Is Tyreek Hill ever going to come back?
No.
With his
Tyreek Hill's gone.
So what? And they traded away their best defender to Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So again, a win's a win. No matter who you play, win's a win. But the Dolphins, this is fool's gold right here. They think that they're gonna. This is a turnaround situation. The guy, this is what he's been doing. He just does it differently every time. He's been 4-0. At the beginning of the season. Then now now he's 6-7 is what his record is. Okay, so he's 6-7. What if he started 4-0 and he went? Now he's 6-7. You are what you are at that moment. How you got there. Does it make a difference? Is it, especially when the guy has shown that he doesn't do much beyond this? You know what I mean? You're right. 9-8 is very possible for them, or 8-9. Or like, and if you're a Miami fan, are you sitting there going, can't wait till next year to see that all again? No, you're not.
No, you're not.
I would prefer. I said this before to a buddy of mine, and I said I would right now. I prefer where the Jets are at 3-10 than where Miami is at 6-7.
Absolutely, you're going to get some picks for sure. And then there was the game in Vegas, and it's in Vegas, and it's interesting that it was in Vegas. Denver's blowing out Vegas. They're up 17 with a little over 2 minutes to go. They score a touchdown. They get the ball back. They're still down 10, and to their credit, they're trying. But what is Pete Carroll doing, kicking a field goal as the clock runs out at 24-14? So he makes it 24-17 and puts all the eyes on him because the spread was 8.5.
Right.
And you don't think
sometimes it's obvious, Rich.
Yeah, I mean, hello, seriously?
Sometimes it's obvious. Let me tell you, sometimes it's obvious.
Pete Carroll, nose on my face.
Yeah, Pete Carroll. His coaching career's beginning of the end was when Malcolm Butler intercepted the ball at the goal line. Him and Russell Wilson, that was the end of their careers right there. That was it. They've been mediocre to bad ever since. They show flashes, but there's nothing there. And why the Raiders would hire Pete Carroll, what a Raider thing to do, I don't know.
Well, there you go. What a Raider thing to do. You said it. You answered your own question, John. Congratulations.
We're going to build a team with a new coach. And how are we going to do it? We're going to get an Ashton Genty as a running back. That's going to be our first pick we need. We have Geno Smith at quarterback. We have Pete. I mean, golly, they couldn't. Who's even a receiver for them? They had Myers from New England, and he's gone.
They got the tight end. They got
Bowers. That's the only I drafted
tight end Bowers from Georgia. Yeah. But yeah. All right. As we record on Monday evening, the Chargers are getting ready to play the Eagles. Are the Eagles going to continue in free fall? And are the Chargers going to be able to continue to make a run despite their quarterback having surgery on his hand?
Yeah.
And by the time you watch this, you probably know the answer to it. We mentioned the Bucs in Atlanta on Thursday Night Football. Even I'm going to have trouble watching that one. Sunday, again, we mentioned New England can clinch the AFC East with a win over Buffalo and Foxborough. Chargers can officially put the dagger in Kansas City as they play the Chiefs. Green Bay is at Denver in a battle of first-place teams. That's an interesting game, and for a couple of reasons. Right now, Denver, by tiebreaker, is ahead of New England. Even both teams are at 11-2.
Right.
If New England takes care of business against Buffalo, and Green Bay goes out and wins at Denver, which Green Bay is the ultimate Jekyll and Hyde team, well, that puts New England in the pole position in the AFC.
I think that's what's going to end up. I really do believe that. Okay. I think New England's they're riding it. So that they're the team right now. They're riding it out. Knockwood, I guess, unless there's an injury, that the wrong person gets injured, it could be a problem.
Detroit is at the Rams. That's a big game. Detroit needs to win, needs to keep winning to try to get to 11 or 12. They're running out of time. They had a nice win on Thursday night against Dallas. The Rams just keep on keeping on. I mean, they had the stumble against Carolina. That's a huge game. Carolina's at New Orleans trying to wipe away the loss earlier in the season at home to the Saints.
Yeah.
The Saints are 3-10, and they've went into Carolina and Tampa and won at both places. And one of those two teams is going to win the NFC South.
Right.
I don't think I need to say anything else. The Sunday Night Football game, Minnesota at Dallas. They'll never flex out of the Cowboys could be 2-10-1, and they're not flexing out of.
No, not a chance.
Not flexing out of that because their fans still watch. And the Monday night game, Miami, we just talked about them. They're red hot. against a Steelers team that's going to need that game. That actually is an intriguing Monday Night Football game.
It's a great Monday Night Football game from a lot of perspectives because they get a lot of mileage out of what we just talked about McDaniel coming back or being the coach or whatever it may be. But Pittsburgh's defense needs to go step up and make Tua uncomfortable. You do that, you got Miami.
Problem is Pittsburgh's defense has been so hit and miss this year. They've been really bad.
Yeah. That's the weird part about that for sure.
All right, let's move over to the locks of the week. We both hit, as I mentioned earlier, Texas Tech for me, Georgia for you. John, does that make you same record as me? Are you 7-4? You're 6-5. Okay, so you're a game behind. I know the college games are down the road. So our locks are getting a little more squeezed. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go quick. And I said it a little bit. We see how I come leaning. New England over Buffalo.
Okay,
I've got that game. There might be big. There might be some bigger games in this week, but I think that's intriguing to see if that happens. I'm interested to see how Buffalo responds to the rest of the year. I think they'll try. I think they're going to try to do what they have to do, but McDermott has always been sort of an iffy guy with them. I think this game could be a real watershed moment for the year and maybe for the next couple of years for Buffalo. What they're going to do and how they're going to do it. They need talent on offense. They need to do something to give Josh Allen some help. I don't think it's there this year, and I think New England's going to go out there with a Mike Vrabel coach team, and they're going to win a game solidly over Buffalo. So I got New England over
Guess
Buffalo.
what, John? Guess what?
What's that?
You get 1.5.
I'm not surprised.
Buffalo's favored. Wow. Okay.
But again,
I know they're the incumbent. I know they're the 5-time defending champions.
Pete,
I mean,
think if you lined up 10 guys that you know that bet on games, okay, that bet on games. How many look in this game right now, okay, and say Buffalo can't lose? They got more motivated, and I don't believe in New England yet. I can promise you, I know a few people who are enamored with Buffalo, who think that it's just Josh Allen's going to do this and do that. And look, New England's still the same place it was when Tom Brady was there. They're the same fan base. They're just as avid as they were before. They're going to pack the house out. They're going to be in a frenzy. And Mike Vrabel he knows how to win. This is not new to him. He knows how to win. And I'm a Jets fan. I hate the Patriots. I can't.
Not exactly a Bills fan either, but yeah.
No, I mean the Patriots. I can never beat them. What the hell? And so, but I'm just saying, it's look at it from the perspective. But you know what? Guys they're gonna bet heavy on Buffalo. So what do you expect? The money goes the other direction. Got to balance it out.
As soon as we get off the air, I'm throwing money on New England. I can't believe that line.
I know.
The other game I'll take for my lock, Carolina.
Okay.
They're not losing 2 games in a row to New Orleans. They're only laying 2.5. I'll lay that all day long too. So I've got Carolina. You've got New England with points. Pretty incredible. All right. Final segment. I mean, we can go 8 million ways. We can go the same way on this. Time for what's bugging me.
Okay, me first.
You're on the tee box, my friend.
Okay, so what's bugging me? I've kind of danced around. There's a lot of tentacles, sort of like all out on this thing with the committee and the lineup for the playoffs for college football. But what's bugging me more than anything else is how it's bugging other people. Now follow me with this.
Okay.
I'm more bugged about what people are bugged about. Everybody knew that the bottom of the bottom half of this thing was always going to be a rough scenario. There was going to be the rest of the guy conference champ was going to be in the highest ranked of the other 6 conferences. That was always going to be. So there's 11 teams, right? I think that people are upset because of what happened to Notre Dame when it wasn't what happened. It was how it happened.
Right.
You're bugged for the wrong reason. The three teams, you could have made a case for each one being in or each one being out. Okay. Miami lost to Louisville and to SMU. Not great. And they didn't show up in certain games. Didn't look good all the time. Carson Beck hasn't been there. So eye test and all that stuff. Alabama, 3 losses. Okay. They're right there alone could have said something about it. And then Notre Dame, 2 great losses, if you want to call them that, but the rest of the schedule was like pedestrian. So you had all those things right there. But everybody has to realize this is what it was. This is what it was going to be. The criteria is put in place. I understand, like I said, about ESPN having a TV show and ranking people and doing it was all a bunch of crap to get to where they got to. The real issue here is that you're mad for the wrong reasons. You're mad because it's really about how they did it, not what happened to, not who did it to. Just how the whole thing went forward. So you got to understand that. So are they going to fix it, or what are they going to do? Possibly they'll do something. Will they go to 16 teams or 24 teams? I'm hearing now, which is another thing altogether. I just don't think that to me, Notre Dame not getting in over the other two isn't really that big of a deal. I didn't even put Alabama in that equation. I thought Alabama should not have been penalized for losing in the SEC championship game. It came down to Miami and Notre Dame. That's what it came down to. And when you put them side by side and take Alabama out of the equation, what does it come down to? Head to head.
Yeah.
Miami beat Notre Dame.
Yelling about for 6 weeks now.
So that's it. So you're mad about this. You're mad, but it's not who got hosed, if you want to say that. Someone was going to get hosed. It's how they came about. That's the problem. And so don't be mad about it. Be mad at the process. Don't be mad at the team or the teams that got in instead of them. They all had legitimate reasons, and if you take Alabama out of it, it's pretty damn simple. Miami beat Notre Dame.
I hate what bugs me is the process.
Right.
We talked about it. The fact that when it started, there were 9 spots between them. Then there were 6 spots between them. Then there were 4 spots between them. And then, basically they threw BYU between them last week. Why didn't they just do this last week? I don't understand. And the process needs to be fixed.
Right.
And it needs to be, you say right, but it's, I have no confidence that we're going to get to January 23rd and it's going to be fixed.
No.
And what does fixed mean? Does fixed mean we go to 16 teams so then we can placate the G5 and then we're guaranteed 4 Big Ten, 4 SEC, Notre Dame, and a G5, and then everybody's left to fight, obviously Big 12 and ACC, you would think, and everybody's left to fight the 4 last spots. Greg Sankey sat here and said on game day on Saturday, I don't know if you saw it. I know you were doing chores while you're doing. He says we deserve 7 teams in. Well, Greg, why don't you just make it an SEC? Why don't you just make it an SEC invitation? He's kind of like the softball.
He's always asking for more.
Made it.
Yeah, he's always asking for more. Let me ask you a quick question.
Yep.
So the process in 1973. Okay, I just picking a name out of the air. You had a beauty contest, right?
Right. Total.
Reporters. You had 3 polls. You had UPI, AP, this, that, whatever it was, right? Everybody had Alabama got the AP championship. So-and-so got the UPI championship, whatever it was, right?
Yep.
And it was all opinion. An opinion based on newspaper reports, not even TV. You couldn't watch the games. You can watch every game now. Every single friggin' game is on TV, right? So you actually can see these games. Back in the day when they had the coaches poll, the coaches didn't do the poll. They had their assistant do it. They still do it.
They still do it.
Right. So here we are all these years later, and we're talking about analytics and this and that. No, it's still somebody's freaking opinion.
Yeah,
opinions. It's still opinions. So everybody's like, we're all shocked. And then when you put the money involved in it, right now, if I'm fixing it, what's the first thing I'm going to do? if I have the balls enough to do it, hello, ESPN. We're canceling the stupid ranking show that Reese and Acho and everybody else,
whoever else is on it, yeah,
right? Whoever else it is, it's over. We're not doing it anymore, okay? Because it's turning into a fiasco. It's a joke. Nobody's going to watch it anymore anyway because they think it's a damn joke is what it is, right? Because what happened at the end, it only mattered at the end when they went back and said, oh, we better fix our problem now. It's real now. What'd you do for the other 7 weeks? Play checkers and then to say, oh, yeah, here's whatever somebody said, just do it. Now it got real. That's what's bad about it. So they're not going to fix it because ESPN is going to say, we ain't canceling no show. We paid you $8 trillion to get the rights. We'll have 25 shows on if we want to. We don't care. We paid you. So that's what it comes down to. Yes, that's what I was saying before. It was annoying. Let me be the investigative reporter. This is Reese Davis here. I'm here I'm going to ask this guy a real tough question. Where were you 4 weeks ago asking this the tough question? You didn't ask shit because you didn't care. Now it's it switched around. No, that's the way it should have been before. Why didn't you say it before? Why wouldn't you make it a big stink then? Because it didn't matter because you were getting paid.
Yep.
So that's what I think.
Well, we're kind of similar on our what's bugging me's. And the other thing for me is the bowls. I think at this point, I know, and I lived in El Paso. They live for those 2 weeks, having the teams there, showing them off the city, Juarez, although they can't do that now, kind of thing, but I think they're gone, man. I think they're gone. Yeah. I mean, just watch some of the games coming up. I just told you the Sun Bowl is Duke, who won the ACC, and again, air quotes, against Arizona State, who's going to be playing some quarterback that played a couple of games that, when Sam Levitt got hurt and, they didn't do squat on offense. So they're really going to do squat now. The bowl system is broken. It's done.
Let me help you out real quick with what you just said. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bowl games. I'll go. I'm just going to go real quick. Boise State versus Washington. I'm going to tell you what bowl it is. Troy versus Jacksonville State. USF versus Old Dominion. Louisiana versus Delaware. Arkansas State versus Missouri State. Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan. NC State versus Memphis. Utah State versus Washington State. Have we even seen a Washington State game this year? Okay.
Well, they gave Lane a game.
Louisville versus Toledo. Western Kentucky versus Southern Miss. UNLV versus Ohio. Hawaii, I didn't see them play once either, versus Cal. Any of these games getting you excited just yet?
Not at all.
Northwestern versus Central Michigan. Minnesota versus New Mexico. UTSA versus FIU. We're going. This is the list. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Pitt versus East Carolina is the first game you possibly say recognizable, right? That's the military gold bowling military bowl. By the way, what the hell are these names? The Wasabi Fenway Bowl. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, those are the sponsors.
I know.
Who's in the Fenway Bowl anyway?
Army versus UConn in the Fenway Bowl.
Okay.
Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl presented by Gin and Juice. Fresno State versus Miami of Ohio. Isoleta next New Mexico Bowl. San Diego State versus North Texas. What the hell are these games? Yeah, exactly. Why am I going to watch these games? All of them on ESPN.
And you're not a bettor. They're all out there for the bettors, John, and you're not a bettor. So you have no interest whatsoever.
But you said about the bowls being dead, or going to be dead. They're dead. It's already dead because you've got games that I don't know how to put it. It's like, hey, you're going to go. I love all kinds of football. I love Pop Warner. I love high school. I love college. But my goodness, this is there. Where'd all the teams go? Where's everybody at?
Well, you stopped conveniently. I mean, I do know Michigan is playing Texas and Orlando.
Yeah, there's another bunch.
There's some decent matchups, but hey, in the end, you're 100% right. And really, on the surface, Michigan and Texas looks great. The question is Bryce Underwood and Arch Manning going to play? if one or both don't play, what's the deal? What? Right. No reason to watch.
If the NFL was to equate the bowl games, it would be the playoffs are going to be in 2 weeks, and the Jets are going to play the Saints on Sunday for an exhibition game.
Right.
And you're like, yeah. Who's watching it? Me, because I'm a Jets fan, right? Or whatever, maybe. But not
any 12 Saints fans that there are. Yeah. I got you.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. Unfortunate. They're dead.
And that's what it is. The end of the 941 Sports Zone, episode number 16.
Hey, real quick, Wednesday night, everybody, watch Cardinal Mooney. I'm pretty sure it's NFHS Network again that usually does this. But check it out on FHSAA.com. If you don't know, it'll tell you who the partner is on the state championship. Root them on. Come on, this is local guys. The rivalries they're around here and there. We know that, but we want this area to be known for how good a football it is. And right now, it's probably at its peak this year. And let's keep it at that way. And we better root on the guys who get there. No doubt about it.
Let's watch them bring home the trophy. I'm with you.
I've been on the field for trophy ceremonies. I know how great it is. I know how great it is for the parents and everybody else. So by all means, everybody watch the games. Watch that game in particular and see if the Cougars can bring it home.
All right. That'll do it now officially for the 941 Sports Zone. We'll be back with you next Monday. We'll dive into the college football games more deeply. There are a couple of, I think, decent first-round matchups.
Maybe
over here.
Let me throw something, a production thing. Maybe we should do a little competition picking the bowls.
Okay. The ones that matter, or you want to go through all the ones you
all
just
of them.
did?
What the hell? I want all of them. Now just see what happens with it.
All right. I have to find a coin. I got to find a coin because I'll be flipping a coin on 20 of them.
No doubt.
All right. So we're back at you next week. Look for us, Facebook, Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, now X, YouTube, and everywhere else you get your pods. For John Bowl Season Masoni, we don't know why he loves the bowls. I'm Spitz. Until next week. So long, everybody.
Bye-bye.